Hello, my name is Sarah Ufer, and today I'll be talking about denying the residents of federally funded care facilities the right to use medical marijuana. This is policy 13661. So right off the bat, I just wanted to name a few examples of federally assisted housing programs. These programs usually target people with disabilities, the elderly, and people with low incomes. For example, these includes homes assisted with Section 8 housing vouchers, public housing, assisted living for the elderly whenever it's funded by Medicaid, because that's a federal program, supportive housing for persons with disabilities program, and the Department of Agriculture Rural Rental Housing Program. What does this policy say? This is a U.S. code under Title 42, Chapter 135, Subchapter 5, Policy 13661. This policy states any tenant is to be evicted from federally assisted housing by reason of any drug-related criminal activity and shall not be eligible for federally assisted housing. This policy is meant to prevent criminal activity from occurring in federally funded facilities. How does this policy impact the residents of federally assisted housing programs? This policy means that anyone using a housing assistance program will face eviction if found participating in any drug-related criminal activity. At face value, this seems like a good rule of thumb. However, unfortunately, because medical marijuana is still not federally legal, the use of medical marijuana will result in the eviction of a resident. This means people either have to choose to continue using marijuana for medicinal purposes and forfeit their opportunity to access housing assistance programs, or completely stop using medical marijuana and gain access to housing assistance programs. Groups in support of policy 13661. While there are many different private sector organizations, political parties, governmental organizations, public campaigns, mass media outlets, churches, and people who advocate against the federal legalization of marijuana. Therefore, supporting policy 13661 because it prevents people from seeking that out. A few examples include the American Constitution Party of Colorado, the Campaign Against Marijuana Planting Camp, Zero Tolerance, and the This Is Your Brain on Drugs advertising campaign. Groups in opposition of policy 13661. Well, there are copious cannabis rights organizations, political parties, festivals, churches, communities, and individuals that support the legalization and decriminalization of marijuana. Therefore, these groups are in opposition of policy 13661 because it stands in the way of that. A few examples include the Alliance for Cannabis Therapeutics, American Alliance for Medical Cannabis, the U.S. Marijuana Party, Hash Bash, people with disabilities and their caregivers, including the elderly. Please see this diagram that shows, this is from Pew Research Institute, and shows that 91% of the population supports the legalization of marijuana, either for medicinal purposes or recreational. Arguments in support of policy 13661. People may argue in support of policy 13661 because of a utilitarian point of view. They may argue preventing the use of drugs protects people from pain. For example, they may be concerned about negative health effects of marijuana, the lack of evidence regarding a therapeutic benefit, widespread off-label use, effects on cognition, and the potential for abuse. From this perspective, it makes sense to outlaw any use of illegal substances in federally funded facilities. Arguments in opposition to policy 13661. On the other hand, people may argue against this policy from a deontological perspective. 37 states have made medical marijuana legal. In these 37 states, it makes sense to allow people residing in federal housing to be able to obey the law and use medical marijuana or other drugs that are allowed in their state. Allowing this would protect their rights. Medical marijuana specifically provides many benefits, such as reducing anxiety, reducing inflammation, and relieving pain, while controlling nausea and stimulating people's appetite. This is all very valuable. Alternative approaches. Well, we could seek out a rewording of this policy to at least allow the people from the 37 states where medical marijuana is legal to be able to use it in their federally assisted housing program. This is a good first step, but furthermore, we should continue the process to make medical marijuana federally legal. This would make it so that people who use it in federally assisted housing would not be evicted. What can we do to help this get along? On April 1st, the House of Representatives passed the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement (MORE) Act that would decriminalize marijuana on a federal level. Now, this goes to Senate. Keeping yourself informed about this process is a great first step in helping people through the legalization of medical marijuana. Another great way to get involved in efforts to legalize medical marijuana is by getting involved with the Marijuana Policy Project and signing up for their action alerts. If you only want to change the policy regarding housing and the use of medical marijuana, the best way to do so is by reaching out to government officials and encouraging them to get more informed. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed.